Hello my friends and welcome to another pick a card reading. I hope you're all doing really well, and today I'll be doing another collaboration with the amazing Helen from the Serpent Tarot, who is one of my favourite readers and also my collab partner. We do lots of collabs, and this probably will be the second in a series of collaborations that we'll be doing together. Where last time we looked at the Magician and the High Priestess, and this time we're going to be looking at the Heirophant and the Hermit. So, and also we'll be doing more collaborations in the future. If you've got any suggestions for us to do that, please do let us know. We're always open to any kind of collab ideas that we can explore through the tarot. It's really exciting and loads of fun. But in this particular reading, I will be looking at the internal journey of the Hermit and how that applies to you, and how the elements of the Hermit kind of work within your own current spiritual journey. The Hermit is essentially the deep mystic, the ultimate mystic of the entire major arcana of the tarot. The Hermit is the one that journeys within, that chooses to look within and to seek illumination within. And something that I completely resonate with in the respect of how I've kind of been like, right, I need to kind of find my own answers rather than look externally. And then that's how, you know, I kind of make sense of my external world. That is essentially what the Hermit does. And Helen will be looking at the Heirophant, which looks at the systems, the laws, the external world of the doctrine, of spirituality, of that whole kind of understanding of, you know, it kind of comes under the umbrella of, like, say, religions and things like that, which essentially, as you go up higher within those religions and you go deeper into those spaces, you go into the space of the Hermit, because you're going into those much more mystical aspects which involve you going deeper into the sense of self, which go deeper into that space of spirituality. So they're closely interconnected and intertwined, but they are very separate. So it'd be really interesting for you to look at both readings and see how they combine for you personally, in terms of working together as a whole. Now, obviously, these are general readings. They are going in deep, but they are general. So if you want something more personal, you'll have to hit me and Helen up for something, or one of us up for a personal reading for it to be specific. But just be aware of that. I will also say there is a trigger warning on some of these things, because I do go deep in these readings. It's just hit deep the way it has. And I'm pulling no punches. I do also feel that they are amazing readings, incredible readings. And for those of you who watch my readings, you understand the way I read. I'm reading with a sense of love, compassion, and understanding for self. Okay, that's really important. So please embody that while you watch these. Also, remember, these are just readings. Take what resonates, discard the rest, you know, and they are general. So not everything is going to match. So honestly, it's just a tarot reading as well. I will really enforce that. But otherwise, I hope you enjoy them. They're going to be amazing. Timestamps will be in the description box below, and also so will Helen's reading. The link there will be down below. Please do check out her reading as a accompaniment to this, because they are designed to work together. I've also used the same decks, or two of the same decks, or various decks that she's used as well in her readings, to kind of complement that. But there's by no means do you have to go to the same ones. Choose whichever ones you want. Also choose as many as you want, whichever resonates. But I hope you enjoy them. Pile 1 is the Sparrow Tarot. Pile 2 is the Hermit. The Hermit from the Sparrow Tarot is pile 1. The Hermit from the Organic Elements is pile 2, and from pile 3 is the Hermit from the White Fly Tarot. Pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. Timestamps will be in the description box below, and I'll see you at your reading. Bye. Hello, pile one, and welcome to your reading. So you chose this Hermit card, which we have here from the Sparrow Tarot. And these other cards that I have around here are to do with past life influences, archetypal influences, and then I also have some astrological influences here. Very interesting. Pile one, very, very interesting. These two cards are extremely resonant together already, even though we have a modern conception here. It is exactly resonant with this Middle Ages, Dark Ages card here. This is spanning a long time. It's spanning from 400 AD to I think it's 1400 AD, probably a little bit before, but it's mainly looking at the Dark Ages, but still within a space where you were able to explore things and you were able to explore the sense of mysticism, but it had to be done under the veil of religion or some kind of, you know, it wasn't just like today where we have so much freedom in the respect of our spiritual development. It was, you had to do it whether you were doing it within the mysticism of, like, for example, like being a monk. And it's really interesting because even here within this card, it is about being enclosed within a space and really becoming an adept at what you're doing. And as somebody who plays computer games myself, you become an expert over time. You stay with a game, you're playing it for, say, maybe, you know, nigh on 40 hours or whatever. That's the minimum for a game. And just to let you know that the video games industry is worth the movie industry and the music industry combined. So it's a really important thing to think about, because, like, you're interacting with something, so you're kind of putting energy into a story in the respect of the analogy of a computer game. So that idea of going into a space where you can, like, be safe, where everyone else is just doing their thing and you are within a space and you are researching, going in depth, finding out your own thing. It's very much about you doing you, and you not really paying much attention to other people, even though you still crave some kind of, like, personal communion with other people. You very much are your own person, and you are quite solitary, if anything. I mean, this card is kind of backing it up in a way. You may not necessarily be like that, but it kind of, there is some kind of energy here that's saying that this is something that could benefit, or it is something that might be helpful towards you currently. What's happening here with the stellium reversed, fifth house reversed, and Venus reversed, I don't know, maybe there's some denial of passion here. Maybe there's a denial of that. Because if there's a sense where you feel like you need to go somewhere else or do something else, that's going to be, or like that you should be getting on with something else. You know, for the example, like you want to do something that's essentially what you love doing, but then you know that it isn't financially viable or stable, then you're deciding not to do it. And what's really interesting is that it's actually in your best interest to do it. There is some suppression here in the respect of, like, you know, not allowing yourself to do it, or you may be doing it in private, you know. But there is something that's telling me there is going to be something coming up to the surface in the respect of, like, you doing this work. So I think eventually it's going to come out. Absolutely. With fifth house reversed, you know, that to me says, like, this kind of suppression on top of the kind of joyfulness, the love, the fifth house is kind of like the opposite of the Hermit in a way. It's not completely the opposite, but it's like the fifth house is the gregarious, sociable, kind of entity, which is very much like the king. Well, it is the king. It's representative of the king, the fifth house, Leo. Whereas the Hermit isn't quite the opposite, but it's almost like the kingdom is actually within, and it's going within that space. So it will be really interesting to see what the Hierophant has to say about this, and Helen's reading. I do feel like there is some suppression on passion here, for sure. And I do feel like there is a denial here of like talents. Or maybe you're thinking that you're still not good enough, even though you know that there's an innate talent for it. So you may keep it in like to yourself. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look what the tarot says. Okay, so we've got the Queen of Swords reversed. We've got the Hierophant. Go and see Helen's reading after this, please. The Two of Cups. The Seven of Cups. Okay, I can't have that many, sorry. And then we've got the Four of Cups. Okay, so you've got a lot of cups here. There's a lot of emotions going on, and what was really interesting is that your emotions run deep. It also said when I read this in the book that like you may be afraid of your emotions. You may be afraid that your emotions, if they kind of get out and they're too much, that they may just overflow and you don't know what might happen. Like it's almost like you have to keep it in this box so that you can make sure that they don't kind of get out, because otherwise you may feel that you're controlled by your emotions. It would make sense with Venus being there as well, because Venus is so kind of hot-headed, passionate, fiery, that kind of sense of like, I'm going to do what I want to do because I love it. And with the Hermit, I don't know, with this particular Hermit, I'm just getting the idea of a Franciscan monk that is in some kind of monastery, is an absolute adept at the studies that they do, but is you know, is kind of like restraining and kind of making sure that they don't let any kind of emotion out, and any emotion that they do have or any kind of spark of passion that they have goes straight towards their art and straight towards where this eye line is going into the TV screen, into the study. And it's really interesting. We've also got another kind of eye line here as well, where this youth is focusing into the dragon. So it's like almost like I am completely passionate, and this is the only thing I'm looking at. So the focus is like laser sharp. What's really interesting here is that the mysticism level is off the charts. Like it's really, really strong. I think that there is a tendency to feel like one is never good enough. That one can never know enough. Interesting with this Queen of Swords, because we have a book with all of these pages flying out as well. So it's almost like no matter what, even if you may be like the most cleverest person or the best student of this art, you still have this sense of not feeling like you know that you're good enough, in the respect like you always feel like you could do better. It's almost like you're your own worst critic. And this is what's happening. It's like that dream of being enough can never be realized. It's almost like your eternal kind of thing of where the goalpost is always pushed forward, so you're always reaching out, like you can never reach it, which is, I mean, it's the marksman of very, very great people, but it's torturous, you know. So that's just interesting. I'm not criticizing or anything. I'm just saying that this is the kind of sense of work ethic that you have towards this kind of internal journey. It's almost like you consistently question yourself as to whether or not you can improve, whether or not you can do things, you know, what is it. You may be someone who does commit to like one thing. I do feel like instead of you may I think there is a possibility actually that you do commit more so to one thing and not see that other avenues of like exploration may be valid or viable, which is actually to your detriment, because like you've actually got the ability to be able to be good at whatever you do from what I've got here. And also, if you were to expand into some kind of like artist or artwork, and even if you do already, there's something about you expanding yourself on those boundaries as well, like expanding yourself beyond those boundaries, sorry, to be able to. So for example, if you did like portrait art, you know, maybe expanding into like landscape work, or like maybe some other kind of work that gives you passion and a drive, you know, something else that, you know, you may have always thought about, but you thought, oh no, I can't, that isn't what's going to bring me money in terms of like, say, design or graphics or whatever. So I've got a lot of friends that do like artwork, graphic design work, and, you know, their artwork is kind of separate to what actually brings them money, and they'd love to do more of their actual own work, so that, you know, of their own kind of personal love artwork. So I think that that's really important to maybe just explore that, because I mean, it is part of the work ethic. I am seeing that that's part of the work ethic, but in order to expand even further, and remember, like this journey of the Hermit is always one of like, if you're really going to go into this self-flagellation mode, then, you know, it'd be good to go into a space where you feel uncomfortable so that you could expand your horizons. I always go with a 10% stretch, you know, don't go like jumping in at like 50%, like out of your comfort zone. Just go like up to 10. So you could go 2, 3, 4, 5. But yeah, and see what happens. With the Heirophant here, you follow the doctrine. You follow it. Like, you know, you and I think what it is that you probably know the rules so well that you need to break it. And I think that's what this Apocalypsis card is talking about. Like you're going to have to break it anyway, regardless. I think you're going to have to. There's going to be something that's going to cause you to go to break it, because there's a lot of things here which are quite internal, but it's almost like your emotions are really like, it's almost like they're playing games on you, and you really want to kind of move forward and think, oh my God, like there's so many possibilities, but oh no, I can't do this because I can't. There's so many constraints. There's so many things I have to think about, but you're going to be pushed into that space regardless whether you like it or not. So, you know, I think just be prepared. And I mean that in the best possible way. I mean, like, you know, you may be forced to do like something different, and then in the end you'll be like, wow, this is what I've always dreamed of doing. So, and I know that sounds weird, doesn't it? But it is scary for some people who are used to the doctrine, who are used to the sense of you know, a structure which is holding them, and particularly with all of this, it's almost like it's like something's ready to unleash right now, you know? It's like, I feel like a taunt bow that's being pulled back right now. So yeah, there's a lot of tension there. It's like, I don't know. And I don't even think like exercise or anything like that. This is about a pure creative vibe. And, you know, and I do feel it is very sexual, but it is, the reason why it's sexual is because it's creative. So I think there's masses of creativity going on here. I think that I think it's more with the person. There is some kind of like real love and affinity that you have either with someone. I think it's with something. I don't think it's with the actual thing itself. I think it's a given that it's with the thing itself. But because of your passion and because of what you're so kind of driven within to explore within, it kind of really helps you to attract the right people to you. They really feel so inspired by you, and they actually feel motivated to do what you're doing because you're so strong. Honestly, you're so strong. I wouldn't be surprised if you've got like strong earth placements in your chart, pile 1. So, but there is a lot that you want to do. Like there is a little bit of grass is greener, but then it's almost like, but I can't. And I mean, it's not too bad, but it's still a bit grass is greener, I think, here. And I think what you try and do is you try and maybe meditate or get involved in the work as much as you can, so that you can avoid thinking about the options that you have. And the problem is that, you know, that's the work of the hermit. The work of the hermit is to look at that and then to be like, right, okay, I understand where I've got this, and now how can I go into that space where I feel really uncomfortable and kind of like, you know, push my boundaries in a healthy way, right? But I honestly think whether you like it or not, it's going to happen. Yeah, it will do. So let's have a look at some other cards for you. Clarify these things. I do also think that you may like be really hard on yourself, and as I said at the beginning of the reading, I think there is, I don't know, maybe it's the other way as well. You know, this could also be the other way. You may be so dedicated to your creative art that you may not do anything else. Do you know what I mean? And it might work the other way, you know? So it may be that you work creatively, but within a sense of structure. And you understand that, and you have like good relationships that are built around that, but there is still something more that you're looking for, and there's still something more that you're kind of dreaming of and searching for, but then you're kind of like suppressing it with this. So interesting. We've got such meditative cards here. It's crazy. It's crazy. You probably do meditate in some way, pile one. So here I'm just going to clarify these tarot cards. These don't really tend to jump out. Wow, so we've got death. So yeah, I think it's almost like you know that there is some kind of transformation that needs to occur in the respect of you having this attitude towards yourself that is quite intense, quite yeah, you can't flagellate anymore. You're gonna have to move beyond that. You've got the Two of Pentacles here. I think with the Two of Pentacles, there's also that sense of balance as well. The sense of being able to use both the external, both the internal, and how you know, all of the, it's almost like learning the rules so that you can break them. I love that saying. Okay, so we've got the Knight of Wands, the Page of Cups, and the Three of Swords reversed. Okay, so the reason why that this is kind of something is going to come up to the surface and change is because you're ready for it. You're ready for it to change, actually. You know, I don't know, you probably know that you've been really wanting some kind of change in your own attitude towards the way that you work through things internally. You're ready. And I think you also understand that there's this sense of, you know, this block here is due to pain, is due to past pain, and how you can move through that. I do think you're on the end of it, though. I think you're moving through it. The page, I think, also because of your kind of nature, I think there is this sense of you being really emotionally kind to yourself and greeting this, you know, greeting your blocks and the things that you go through in a way that is with curiosity, love, and kindness, which is what the Page of Cups is. So you're not being too kind of self-flagellating on that. It's almost like you're knowing to take the gentle approach with something because you've been so hard on yourself. And I think your friends really help, and your community that helps you. I think particularly one person, they really help you to kind of ignite the fire that's within your soul. It may also be a partner as well. It could be that you've met someone that helps you to feel that you're not so alone, and that you actually, you know, that there is something, that there is other possibilities within your life that you can kind of move forward in terms of your own self-investigation and your self-worth, and also your self-worth is kind of tied up with this because it seems like it's to do with the sense of purpose and how you kind of put your imprint on this world. And I think it will be what helps you kind of turn these around. So Fantastic. Love that. Okay. So we've got Rickabel here. Can you see that? Yeah, Rickabel. Which is number 11. Now, I mean, just from the offset of this, right, we've got like some really interesting characters. Like this character looks like this one. I think you really, I don't know, I feel like you're from another planet, part one. Like I think that you may feel like you're just beyond. And that's what this, you know, that's what these two cards said. Like, and I get from those two, they definitely are, you know, my part ones are the ones who kind of are just, they're of their own, they're like of another species possibly. They're just really something else. And you know, but they yearn for that sense of connection. It could be even starseed, you know, vibe. I get that from this, but it's also about not just about that thing of like, you know, feeling so separate from other people. It's about how you understand to not only develop compassion for other people, but also develop compassion for yourself. And I think that's where the main lesson is, or this is where the lesson is kind of asking you to be, or just take from that. Because when you allow that sense of compassion to grow, it helps you to be able to be a lot more open and free with the ideas that come forward. So really interesting, really interesting. Let's have a look. Wow, fallen angel. I'm going to read this. No, I'm going to read it reversed. So we've got fallen angels, pride, black sheep. It's reversed. Now, I think I do, and I've just decided to place it there. I didn't do that intentionally. It's just funny how it's gone over there, and it's like, you know, with these cards. So I think the suppression, I think it's all about like understanding like what sorry, my loves, I just realised my mic wasn't plugged in just then. My camera's quite close, but yeah. This idea of you kind of suppressing these things about yourself, you know, because of this sense of feeling so different from everybody here, everybody that is around, you know, you've kind of gotten used to this kind of idea of like locking yourself away and keeping yourself by doing your own thing. But I think now is the time for you to kind of like burst open. And the Hermit returns, you know, the Hermit returns, goes back in, and then comes and then goes back out. You know, it's a continuous journey of the Hermit working this kind of like thing. Doesn't mean that they ever stop being the Hermit, but it's almost like now is the time for you to change this dynamic of you being in the ground, and now is time for you to kind of push forward, because these need to be reversed. You know, the stellium, the idea of like all of those different planets coming together, you know, it's about them being seen and being like heard. The fifth house as well is about being seen and being heard and enjoying creativity and reveling with other people. Venus is about that love and passion generally. So, and it will help you to expand that. So there's something about you coming out here, you know. I've got that song, I'm coming out, I want the world to know. That one, yeah, so that's what I feel. So yeah, beautiful. I like that a lot. Okay, so let's have a look at some chakra cards for you. Okay. So we've got renewal, truth, and I'll take one more. Survival. Interesting. Okay, right. I think, you know, understanding that you being your your authentic self within this space is okay, because I think there is a definite fear here with you not feeling like you're going to be able to survive if you go out there and do your thing, you know. And I think it's really important that you have to communicate this truth. You have to communicate this sense of self to others and be proud of that. You have Pluto transformation. And then you also have individuality here with, you have Uranus with survival. So there's a sense that in order for you to really transform into who you're supposed to be, you have to get out there. You have to put it out there. You have to. And then you can revel in that individuality. It doesn't mean that you're going to dilute yourself. I think it's important that you get out there, because it seems like people really need this sense of truth from you. They need you to put yourself out there. Whatever message it is that you're giving, Pile 1, it really is important. And I really do think, like, whether you like it or not, it's going to come out. There's going to be something that's going to make you have to bring it out. Okay, let's have a look. And I've got some Druid energy for you, Pile 1, which I thought was resonant with the, oh, beautiful, with the Hermit energy. Fresh Welsh wildflowers. A blade of grass is as beautiful as a petal or leaf. A tender moment is as sweet as it is brief. Carry heather flower for maturity, growth, and change. Wow, a blade of grass is as beautiful as a petal or a leaf. Please do either pause the video and read that, because that's gorgeous. So it seems like, you know, I think understanding your place within the collective, and that you do have a role within that, is going to be really important. So after watching this, do head over, if you haven't already, head over to Helen's reading and check hers out, because that's going to give you some really cool insights in the respect of how you can kind of actually do that whole thing with integrating yourself back into, you know, on a collective level, and integrating with bigger systems, because you need to get out there, Part 1, big time. You really do. So I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe for more videos. But otherwise, thank you so much for allowing me to read for you. It's such an honor to read this beautiful reading. Just these readings are just like amazing. I love it. But otherwise, you take care. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. And yeah, remember that honesty is always key. Bye. Hello, Pile 2, and welcome to your reading. So something really interesting happened just before I did your reading, because I picked these cards, and then I had to have a look at what this one meant. Here is your chosen card of the Hermit. And something compelled me to drum for you. So I drummed before I opened this reading. Or to open this reading. From the onset, you have a deep connection with the kind of origins of Earth, Pile 2. This is a card from the past life of from the lives of the Asante, which is a Ghanaian tribe, which is one of the oldest tribes on this planet, and they originate about 10,000 years ago. And this particular symbol here is of the golden throne, which is the thrones of the ancestors. This is where they sat. So no actual like mortal being that was alive was actually sat on this throne. It would be specifically only for the ancestors. Like kings could rest on it, but they didn't want to sit on it. Now, it's so interesting because with this particular Hermit card, we can see we've got a lot of skulls or skull like looking objects here, and also we've got the mycelium with the mushrooms now, and also this kind of like forest in a way. So there is a deep connection with nature, with the origins of Earth, with the things that really create the fundamentals of reality, Pile 2. So you're super kind of, I don't know, there's this really strong connection to Mother Earth, particularly with this Cancerian card here. And then also this is of, it's really interesting because, and then one thing that's kind of standing out to me is that the Asante were one of the tribes that didn't really like tattooing. They had an aversion to tattooing and like marking of the skin. So they were more about, well, I don't know why they didn't like you know, personally believe in it, but my kind of interpretation of why that's kind of standing out to me is the fact that, you know, you believe that maybe integrating with nature is more important than you kind of marking it onto yourself. It's more about your actions rather than your actual, like, your display of things, which is ironic because, like, this is a symbol of royalty, like of ultimate royalty. It's interesting as well because it's so innate, but it's almost like it's in your blood so innately that you don't need to show anything. You don't need to tell people that you are of a certain status. You just are. That's what I'm getting here, pile 2. Very powerful, very, very powerful. And also very regal. There's a regal sense from you. Like there's no, I wouldn't say it's no effort, but it's like almost like you're just born with it, you know? It's just part of you, who you are. Now what's really interesting is because you've got 7 cardinal and also this card, the Venom, it almost says to me that there is something about you that isn't allowing yourself to believe that you actually have this. And I don't know whether or not that it may have been indoctrinated into you or maybe planted into you that you don't believe that you are worthy of this. Particularly with Cardinal reversed. Cardinal reversed is almost like the impetus, is the initiator, and it's reversed. So it's almost like, you know, you're comfortable in a role where you're nurturing, caring, and being supportive to other people, fulfilling this role, but actually this is what you're supposed to be doing. So that's really interesting to kick off. Now this Venom card, it just says to me that there's something that's kind of like stayed and infested. The image that I'm getting right now, like usually I see it as the poison kind of running through the veins, but right now I see it as something that was planted in you that has just kind of like ended up like festering and becoming rotten. So it's ended up stopping you from wanting to kind of go forward or wanting to initiate as strongly as you could, you know? So let's have a look with the tarot. The 7 also is kind of like a denial of the, you know, like everyone has it worse than I do kind of vibe. You know, I have issues, but everybody has it so much worse. You know, everybody's got issues. Everybody's got problems. And I hear that a lot, like, with people who are, you know, kind of with that whole sense of compassion, but it's almost like actually you need to recognize that, you know, you're worthy of that love that you exude upon everyone else too, and it's actually in your birthright, it's actually in your lineage. So interesting. 7 of Swords, the Devil, the Chariot. No, I don't really want another couple. Okay, all right, I'll give 6. Right, okay, so we've got 10 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles, 2 of Swords. So I don't know if you were like wronged in some case, and you're still choosing to go ahead maybe with something that, or someone that you may know that is not really essentially a good choice, but you're deciding to go ahead with it. And that kind of disempowers you. And I think that whatever, like, if you're involving yourself with other people, they know the extent of your power, so they kind of like hop on for the ride. There may be a codependent relationship happening as well. Or it doesn't have to be like a codependent relationship with someone. It could be a codependent relationship with a thing, with a way of being. Yeah, I think it is probably a way of being, more like a lifestyle, you know. If people are in a sense of like consistent giving, and I know many Cancers who are like this, that they give and they give and they give and they give so much that they just forget about themselves. And you're just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then before you know it, 40 years down the line, then you're like, oh wow, I'm in this position, I'm in this particular position, and but I've been giving to so many people because there's something so abundant about you. There's something so abundant about you, beautiful. People flock to you. But I don't know, there's just something about the lack of confidence in being able to go forward. And it's something that's been planted in from a long time ago. Interesting. It would be very interesting for you to go over and see Helen's reading because it might be something to do with the paradigm of that. Like if you understand that kind of like external framework, then you might understand what kind of stuff is going on internally. Because the Hermit's journey is not about you being all fluffy bunny rabbits and going, and staying with the comfort. And that's Cancer's happy place, fluffy bunny rabbits. It's not the hard place. The hard place is I have very close people to me that are Cancers and they don't like discomfort. So, it's about understanding that, and it's not about, considering yourself is a discomforting thing. It feels like, it appears like, that's what I'm getting. Pile 2. And it's an indulgence. I don't know. I don't think that this is necessarily you. I think that this Seven of Swords here is about what someone did to you and you've just kind of accepted it. And I don't know, it could be a friendship group or it could be some kind of, or it could be a relationship. But it's almost like I think this is what I did at this time and I felt like it was the right thing to do at that time. But whether or not it was what I really wanted to do, then that's a different thing. Ten of Wands reverse kind of says to me that you do have, there is something that's stirring within you that's kind of like making you think, actually, I need to change this because it's actually hurting me. I don't know if like something's happened in the respect of like maybe for some of you, this is a general reading, remember. For some of you, there may be some kind of like medical issue that's kind of cropped up, that's caused you to change your mind, or maybe some incident. I see wheels coming off here on this chariot. Like it's going ahead, but because the reason why the wheels are coming off is because the Devil is there and the Seven of Swords is here. You've got 2 of the most deceptive cards in the deck here. And it could also be a slave to the lie. A slave to the lie that one tells yourself, or like that is told to you by other people. Because sometimes it's a lot easier to like stay within the lie than it is to actually like go for the truth. But I think you know. I think you know. I don't think you would be at this reading otherwise. That's why the venom is there. It's deadly. It's really deadly. I'm not pulling any punches here, pile 2. Sorry. Yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a look at what else. How can we clarify this? Because you're in a stalemate. It's like you feel like you can't go forward. It feels like you're stuck. You're stuck and you can't go forward. I don't think that you can't. I definitely think you can get out of this. Like totally you can get out of this. But how do you get out of this? How do you harness your power? How do you gain control of the Chariot once more? Because the Chariot is showing you how much like power you have. And the intensity of your power, which is signified by the Devil, kind of like really shows that you want to change something. 10 of Wands reverse tells me you want to change it. You do, but you don't know how. It's almost like you're stuck within some kind of thing where you're kind of like, you're really wanting to be independent. You really want it. You want it, but you just, it's seeming like you can't. Interesting. And what's also really interesting, what I just noticed, is that this Hermit is kind of like weaved within this whole, like the whole space. So there's no sense of individuality. I mean, you know, obviously we're all one and all of that, yeah, right? When we look at that in terms of a non-dual aspect. But I mean, it's almost like, you know, the whole thing about the Hermit is about breaking away and then reintegrating. And that's why, you know, go and see Helen's reading, because then you would understand about like reintegrating like back in. But here, there's no kind of sense of individuality. So how can you even feel separate? It's completely enmeshed. There's an enmeshment going on here. It'd be different, obviously, if the Seven of Swords and the Devil wasn't here, but they're there. They're there and they're saying, hi. Can you tell pile 2 what's going on? And we've got the 7 reversed as well. So it's like the negative aspect of the 7, which is confusion, which is inability to move, inability to make decisions, overwhelmedness, or being overwhelmed. I don't even think overwhelmedness is a word, is it? So we've got the Ace of Cups, nice. Page of Cups. Ten of Swords. 7 of Wands. The Star. Good. And the 6 of Wands. Okay, right. So let me just tell you something, right? If you don't succeed, try again, yeah? Because, you know, there's a possibility that there may be a bit of a defeatist attitude that goes on here, because you're thinking, oh, if I don't succeed the first time, then what's the point of me trying anyway? Don't fall into that trap. It's not helpful for you. Continue to try, because there's something about, you know, there's some kind of like, I think that's it. There also may be a fear of you failing. You may think that, you know, you won't succeed. So what? Who cares? Keep on going for it, you know? But I think because the comfort is so strong here, that it's just like, yeah, I'm just chilling, I'm just fine. That's why this Hermit is just like, sup, I don't need to go anywhere. I don't need to do anything. I'm just here, you know. With this Ace of Cups here, with this 7 of Swords, there is, like, to me, there is definitely something here that is keeping you in a space where you're feeling that there is a possibility of something. And the thing is that there's 2 meanings I'm getting from here. One, that there could be a possibility of something moving on, something, you know, growing, potential. And then it's almost like you continue to live within this space, but it's almost like the lie that is being told here. Because it's almost like, I believe that, oh yeah, there is this potential. And if you're going to continue to believe in potential, then this is something that's not, you know, it's not, you can't live on the possibility of potential. It just doesn't work that way. So I think what the main thing is to understand, yes, it is there. Now, how can we move it? Now you jump, right? This is great, right? Because you jump from the Ace to the Page. So you skip the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You skip all of those, and then you go straight to the Page, number 11. So this means that there is a real, you know, it's almost like your life kind of stuff, your experience has given you enough wisdom to be able to get through all of that. You know it, you've got it down. Do we have any other cups here? No, we don't. So you've got it here. It's almost like your emotional level and your emotional intelligence, capacity, whatever you want to call it, is actually so advanced and much more advanced. But it's almost like you have to get past that first hurdle so that you can just kind of move on. It's almost like getting on the bike so that you understand that you actually can ride it really well. But then it's almost like, I'm so scared to get on the bike. I'm so scared to get on the bike. Oh, I know I can ride a bike, but how can I get on the bike? Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like, just get on there and move beyond that kind of idea With the Page of Cups here, there is this sense, but I also do feel with it clarifying the Devil, there may be this sense of you romanticizing what the Devil is offering as well. Because, you know, this figure is like looking at this beautiful cup, this beautiful image, and then there's all these things around it which kind of look a little bit... What are they, those things? Here, I'll show you. Like, what are they? What are these things? So as soon as he goes, or this character goes and like gets that thing, what are these things going to do? I'd be a bit afraid. Don't know whether or not they're friendly or not, you know? Or don't know what they're going to do. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like there's a reality check that's needed here, because there's a lot of romanticism happening. And the romanticism is what's keeping everything comfortable. There's a need for clarity. A need for clarity. But the reason why the clarity isn't there, right, is because there's some kind of over dramatization, because there may have been some kind of like incident where you feel that you were betrayed. And also that betrayal kind of like clouds your judgment in the respect of how you can move on. Like you're thinking, I don't want to get hurt again, quite simply. I don't want to get hurt again. And that's just totally understandable. I can hear you so much with that. So I think I think the main thing here, right, and the thing that's speaking to me here is the Aquarian side of the star. So Aquarius is detached. Aquarius is objective. The star, and remember, when you look at a star, it's not the sun, right? It's something that's far away. We look at it and we have this idea, we have this dream, we have this thing that we're kind of guided towards. And we have a hope. And I think that that's what, like, having that objective quite far away is going to be really useful in being able to kind of gain some sense of perspective without getting lost in it. Because the Devil is the obsession. It's the kind of like, you know, the kind of romanticism, which is what we see here with this Page of Cups. It's like this, like, oh, my precious, you know, that kind of thing. It's like... It's like, no. There has to be that objective thing. You have to be more Frodo-like. You have to be like, you have to understand that the ring can like really get you. And it can. You have this dramaticism of the Ten of Swords. It can engulf you. You know, with this Cancerian energy, there's this sense to be totally overwhelmed, which is what I said with this 7. It's this whole kind of like, I can get completely lost in it, you know? And the Devil, you've got really strong cards which are just trying to like, you know, like kind of hypnotize you into a particular state and keep you where you're supposed to be. So this is what the Hermit is saying. Like the Hermit energy is saying to you that it's very important for you to get into this space where you get this sense of autonomy, I think, so that you can reclaim your power and push forward into your initiatory kind of energy. So we've got the 6 of Wands here. Yeah, I mean, like I explained that at the beginning of putting these cards out. So you like, you know, I think that's the thing that holds you back. That's the thing that holds you in a stalemate. It's the fact that you're scared that you will not succeed. You will not be, you know, it's just much better to stay within the comfort, within what you're doing, rather than taking a risk and going forward. And I know many people like that. Many people that would rather something that makes them comfortable, gives them security, but essentially, you know, it's the risk that kind of makes you feel alive, truly alive, and also in congruency with who you're supposed to be. It's this card. But it's, you know, I think there's the understanding and also the recognition that this is quite deep. This has come from a betrayal. And whatever that is, that's your own work. That's the Hermit's work to kind of go through that. But let's see what the other cards say. Wow, Azrael. Okay. Just making sure you can see that. So I'm just going to double check that in the book. But Azrael, as from what I remember, is the angel of death. So there's definitely this sense of like you having to move beyond some kind of way and patterning of understanding. It's a transition. He's known as the angel of death, but, you know, it's about a transitionary phase. You just need to move. It's a movement on. Look at the colours. So green might be really important for you right now, pile 2. Green and the royal colours, you know, royalty, regalness. This is about you claiming your power. Release all that is currently falling with love. Remember that after a death, there always comes rebirth. So there's something very powerful there for you, pile 2. That rhymed. I like it when things like that come out and they rhyme. Anyway, let's have a look at some other cards for you. I've got 3 more cards to pull. I think it'll be so important for you to go over to Helen's reading and check that out, because that will give you some kind of like understanding of what is the paradigm that's surrounding maybe the thing that's providing some kind of comfort for you. And there's a need to move beyond that. And it's not about disregarding that, which is signified here from the ace to the page. You need that information, but it's how do you go even deeper? How do you go beyond that? Because it's calling you. Like, this is a real calling. And you have to exercise this. You have to get rid of it. Okay, so how can pile 2, what's pile 2's next step in those respects? So something has to die and you have to release and let go of it with love. I am bold. Wow, look at that. I love that. Some kind of like Wolverine or Banshee or something. So resilience and stamina, perseverance. Gosh, I am bold. Interesting. So let me just double check. So that's 30, that's 8, 10, 6, 10, 16, 7. Got another 7 here. And then you've got 50, 58, 30, 4. Okay, so you've got 4, 7, 7, and 8. Okay, so there's something to do with the stability, 4. There's something to do with your, you kind of leapfrogging off of that stability. You reassigning and kind of assimilating your power with the 7 and moving forward with number 8. Very powerful reading, pile 2. Very powerful. Okay. Just trying to think if there's any other messages with that I am bold. I think this is just courage, I think it's just very much the courage, because I just get this sense, and particularly with that Cancer, I just get this sense of like, oh, it's okay, actually, I don't think that I could actually do that, No, your job is to get out there. Big time. Okay, so we've got the root chakra, vitality, the sun, inner self. By the way, this card is to do with like sun, so you may like sun, warm tones and golds and colors like that. But I think that also connects to like royalty, I think, as well. Wow. Okay, so we've got base chakra, Muladhara, Vishuddhi, which is the throat chakra, and then we also have Manipura, which is strengthen. So understanding your core and really going down to any practices that really nourish your root chakra, that nourishes yourself, is going to be really great for you to like ignite that inner fire, that vitality that starts from the base of the Kundalini, the root. And then you've got communication here, which kind of like helps you to really have direction with your voice. You have to be really strong in communicating yourself. You really have to be. This I am bold energy, that's what this is about. You're doing it for you, not anybody else, And it's all well and good serving other people, but this is about you. That's the best way that you're going to be able to serve other people, by being you. And then you've got power here, strengthen, Pluto, transformation. So this is about you just coming into your power, not just coming into your power, you revolutionizing your sense of power. You really strengthening yourself in a way. And that's what you do in the space of you coming back to yourself and getting rid of that. Okay, so then I've got some Druid energy for you. Wow, pagan wisdom. So we've got, remember the lesson of nature, not everything needs to be rushed. A gift comes in waiting for a tender, loving touch. And it says, carry rose quartz for respect and love. So what green again. And what I get from this is like that, how that moss kind of like works. You know, I think rather than the moss doesn't think, oh, I'm just like making the stone look good and I'm just sitting here and being on the stone. The moss is the moss. The moss is a vital component of nature. So it's that idea of like understanding the role that you play and that it is important. And my drum just went like that when I said that. And yeah, just basically like really embodying the energy of moss. Be really interesting, actually. I'm just going to have a little look at something, my friends. Bear with me. Sorry, I just wanted to like look up the meaning of moss. And it is actually about having new beginnings, the kind of veil between the worlds. But also, more importantly, that resonates with this, is letting go of something that doesn't serve you anymore and moving into something new. Like letting go of the old and moving on to the new. So incredible, pretty incredible. Please do go ahead and watch Helen's reading, which will be in the description box below. And yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to read your energy, pile 2. It's been a pleasure. Really enjoyed this reading. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe for more videos. But otherwise, my darlings, you take care. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Please do go and see Helen's reading, as I said, because I think it's going to help you immensely. And remember, honesty is always key. Bye. Hello, pile 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose this Hermit card here. And as normal, my pile 3s are as deep as you can get. I love all of my piles, but it's always really interesting how this pile is deep. So like off the bat, we are looking at there is an association with those of you who've come to this pile with the Hopi tribe, which is said to be up to 20,000 years old. Its origins are, which is very, very, it's a very long time ago. So there is a deep psychic, spiritual resonance with you. Also, we have Yod here. So, I mean, it doesn't get more kind of spiritual than that. Like you really, you know, you guys are really deeply spiritual. You may also connect with others on a spiritual level. You may also help others to embrace their own sense of spirituality. The one thing I do get, though, is that you keep your own heart locked away, totally locked away. And it's very precious. Like whether or not it's very precious. So you don't, this isn't something that is just going to be like kind of for everyone. You're only going to kind of share it with very specific people if you do. You may not even do that. It's kind of like under lock and key. And you believe that your kind of connection with people, that is and the spirituality that you show with people, that can be like what people see of your spirituality. But otherwise, you know, you don't need to show anything else really. You can just kind of like connect with people on that way. What I do get though is that there's something here that's making that you really, there's a yearning here. There's a real yearning with this Eros card. It's almost like you need some deep, passionate love, be it for a friend or be it for, this is to do with people. I don't think this is just to do with like, the love of what you do. There's something about you connecting to someone, be it a friend or a partner, that is really going to ignite something even deeper within you. But there's the resistance there. What's really interesting is that I just looked at that heart, and that heart reminded me of a cabbage. You know, so I just thought, you know, cabbages are these like multiple layers, particularly a Savoy cabbage, right? So like, and Savoy cabbages are like so beautiful and they're really tasty. I really like them. So like the idea of like this whole idea of these like many layers, so that like almost like there's so many layers to kind of get to you, and you've expertly crafted this and to keep it away from anyone or anybody that can hurt it. I don't know yet if it's to do with like whether or not it was through hurt, but there is something here that you know, it's almost like you're putting your spiritual practice before you put not your own needs, but your own needs are just very secret. They're just kept very far away from anyone and anything else because they're so powerful as well. And that attributes to your power as well. Just double checking, we've got 50, 70, no, yeah, 50, so 71, so that's 8. And then we've got 27, which is 9. And then we have 9, which is the Hermit. So, yeah, this is top tiered stuff. Typical pile 3, always is the same. So, and with Yod here, there's this kind of sense of real connection to divinity. Deeply, deeply spiritual. Deeply spiritually adept as well, I would say. But there isn't that much kind of like integration with others, with these 3 being reversed, which is interesting. You may serve others, but whether or not that you actually integrate with them on a kind of intentional level, I don't know if you do. You might be the most hermit-like out of all of the reading, actually. I am here. There's something here that's stopping you from going out to being able to explore things. I don't know. I think you're scared. I think there's a fear here. There's some kind of innate fear that's happening. Let's have a look at what the cards have to say. And it's understandable, because if you're trying to protect your heart from, like, you know, hungry little caterpillars like me that will come and like eat your lettuce or your cabbage heart, then yeah, it's gonna, you have to keep it away, because it's like, tasty cabbage, you know. So what I mean by that, right, is that basically, if people think that they can gain a lot from you, they're going to feast on you, aren't they? They're going to, and then, you know, but then there's also kind of almost this detriment. So it's almost like all the nourishment is going towards the heart and this bit, but it's almost like a detriment on the outside. And it's only like, because it's like half skeletal, half kind of human. And it's beautiful. There's almost like a beauty in the tragedy of this kind of like this sense of, what is it? Like a sense of, I wouldn't quite go as far as martyrdom, but it's almost like when you see someone who's really going for the cause, going for what they dream in, and then you can see how hard they're working at it. And it is like kind of affecting them, but almost like seeing them go for their passion is almost so enticing. Like, you're just like, wow, it's so inspiring, enticing, amazing. And, you know, you kind of want to keep it under lock and key in a way. That's what I mean by that hungry little caterpillar. I don't know if you understood that analogy. I hope you did. Because I don't know, there's also like a reluctance to talk to anybody about it. Like, you don't even want to tell anybody about it. There's something very secretive here. Very secretive. Ace of Wands reversed, okay. Oh, okay, Moon reversed. 6 of Pentacles. Okay, we'll go for 6. You're lucky. Pile one got 5 cards. because the cards are so big. Whereas like you and pile 2 got 6 cards because the cards are smaller. Okay, so we've got Ace of Wands, the Moon reversed, 6 of Pentacles, the Tower, the King of Wands, and then we've got the 10 of Wands. So we've got some biggies here, pile 3. Some biggies. I don't know if you are kind of, I don't know, the first thing that came to me, and this will only resonate with some of you, but you might have suffered something quite dark, like in your earlier childhood, that has caused you to kind of like go with this. I do see something quite, you know, something that has stopped you from actually allowing yourself to kind of go forward creatively. And that stems from something that, you know, some kind of like deep betrayal, or some kind of deep lie, or maybe, you know, there may be some connections. I'm not saying that it might happen, but there may be something to do with mental illness as well here. So I'm thinking that there's some kind of and this is the thing about these whole sets of readings. It's almost like the very thing that kind of puts you into this hermit state is what excels you. But it's almost like, how do we transcend that? How do we make that kind of turn into something amazing? How do we transmute it? That's what I'm looking for. So with the 6 of Pentacles here, it's almost like there's a sense of you being used to being within a role. You used to thinking that, you know, this is how you should live your life, and that is the way it should be, and that's it. And this really special thing has to be kept away and secret, and that's the only way it can survive. And the thing I'm seeing mainly here is this Tower, and then I'm also seeing all of these like cords that are all around this person here holding up this tree. So it's almost like it's almost like a victim, not a victim, sorry, like a kind of a victim of the circumstance in a way. A victim of like the things that there's a belief system that's around you. It'll be really interesting for you to go and look at like what Helen's reading says, because then you can kind of work out like what are the good bits, you know, that you can take. And then the Tower will help you to kind of like break out of that and really kind of step into your kingdom, your kingness, kingdom, you know, the king self, because you're going from the Ace of Wands reversed, which is not even the conception actually happening, not even the actual initiation happening, but yeah, you're able to get into this King of Wands, because there seems to be like some kind of example of you to be. I don't know whether maybe you might be feeling a little bit intimidated by a role model, that you might be thinking, oh, I don't know if I'm ever going to live up to that. But you know, you can still kind of embody that and be this beautiful kind of raging, because like we've got Sun here, and it's reversed. So there's something about you not kind of stepping into your power, because there seems to be some kind of like, I wouldn't go as far as martyrdom, but it's almost, as I said, like, you know, there's this sense of you feeling that you can't step into your power because maybe you're thinking it's wrong or something, or that you don't deserve it. I don't think it's that you don't deserve it. I think it's more the fact that you need to suffer for your art. That's what I'm trying to get at. There's a sense of like trying to suffer, that in the suffering, that's where you gain like some kind of like, you know, some kind of spiritual awakening. It doesn't happen like that. It happens as a result of. It doesn't happen because of. It happens as a result of, you know. What I just got here also is that we got the synapses here. So there's something about there's something that's missing here. And Sagittarius being reversed, it's almost like, you know, you're going blazing off in one direction, and it's almost like the wrong direction that you're going into, with the sun being covered as well. So there's something that's not like, it's almost like you've got like a really great, beautiful talent for something, and it's amazing, but it's slightly misdirected. That's the thing I'm getting. And it's almost like with this 10 of Wands here, it's if I suffer, then that means that I'm going to get forward. No, 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 no. No, you do not have to put yourself into that kind of space. Because the thing is that also, it's also suppressing. It's suppressing something really important, and it's actually causing something that I don't think is very healthy. Moon reversed is not healthy, I don't think. Moon reversed is the ultimate denial of self, you know, and you know it. That's the thing with the moon reversed. The deception is you know about the deception. At least if the moon was upright, you're like, I don't know what it is. But like with the moon reversed, there is a deception that you know it is. And I don't know, you know, you might not be consciously aware, you know. But whatever it is, it will come out. There's something that will ignite that. And I don't know, it might be to do with some kind of like male influence or male kind of energy that will help you to move forward, that will help you to realize that. And the Ten of Wands is kind of like saying to me that, you know, I just feel I have to just keep on this. I have to keep on this wheel. And I don't think that that's true. Because there's a lot of, you've got a lot to give, pile 3. But I don't know, there's just something that's holding it back. And it's this belief, that you believe that you should be in this space, like, that you, it's almost like you believe that being of a lower standard is actually is good, is a good thing. No, it's not. It's not. And I'm not talking about having the over sense of ego either, because it seems to me that it's quite healthy here. With the King of Wands reversed, I'd think, you know, that this sense of ego would be, you know, not very healthy. But with it upright, there's something here that says that this is a good thing to have. Okay, so the Ace of Wands is clarified by the 5 of Pentacles. Interesting. Yeah, there's definitely something where you're thinking that the poverty consciousness is something that's akin to like spiritual breakthrough. Now, there's ways of that actually happening. Like you can do that. You can do that, but only within a context that is actually like going to further growth. It doesn't help if you're like consistently like, if you're consistently like berating yourself and putting yourself through like pain. And I tell you what, okay, so when the Buddha, just before he became enlightened, he went through like, so he was a prince. And then he went through some things like his father tried, you know, there was a prophecy about him becoming either like, there was 2 things. He could either become like a great war leader or he could become a great spiritual leader. That was the prophecy about Buddha. And because his dad wanted him, the king wanted him not to be kind of, you know, he wanted him to be a war leader, like a leader of the country. Then he kind of walled him up in the confines of the palace. And gave him everything. Like he gave him all of the things that he could ever want. So women, money, food, clothing, everything that he could ever want, so that he would never want for more. But then he really longed to kind of be in the palace, outside the palace walls. So he asked his assistant to like leave, and if he could leave the palace he could experience, you know, see what it was like outside, and that's its own story. But he got outside and then he decided to, and then from what he saw, then you can look into the story deeper, because I'm butchering it here, but but then he basically decided to leave, renounce everything, and he became he decided to enlist in all different sorts of spiritual practices. So because he was a Hindu before he became Buddha, so he decided to try every single type of meditation, every practice that he could. And one of the practices that he did actually the last one before he did, you know, the one that made him become enlightened, was one where the yogis, they completely torture themselves. So they spear their bodies, they starve themselves, you know, they do incredible things to their bodies to show that the kind of sense of spirit cannot be diminished by the physical reality of the body, right? So he got to a stage where he was almost going to die. And he got so thin, and he was just meditating, and he was going to die almost. And then this young girl came up to him and said, like, have some food, here you go, like, take some. And then I don't know, in that moment, he kind of, he thought, this isn't the way, like, this isn't the way for me to achieve enlightenment by putting myself through this torturous situation. So he ate the food, and then he started to go on the path that he did, and then he became enlightened. But that whole story was about the fact that, you know, he had gone through the idea of like having everything, then renouncing everything, and then completely losing it all and starving himself, and understanding that that really wasn't, you know, it has to come with a balance. And it is particularly difficult when you're in a space where you are of a high level, which is quite obvious here that you are. So, you know, you don't need to torture yourself in order to get to that point of enlightenment, or to get to that point of like spiritual working. It doesn't work that way. I mean, you know, whatever floats your boat, you know, like if you want to, I can't say anything about that. But all I'm saying is that, you know, if you want to achieve some kind of next level, it's saying here that there's something else. And I don't know, just with this moon reverse tells me that I don't think that that's the way that would be the best way. And I think that's interesting. So you actually start to understand that. You start to realize that that's not the way. Eight of Wands reversed. You realize that you can't do it in a fast way. Nothing comes fast. Nine of Wands. You have to let go of your defenses. You have to open your heart, in the words of Madonna. Two of Cups. Oh God. Okay, right. So it seems like some kind of relationship will help you to open that a bit more and help you understand that. Seven of Wands. You will overcome your demons. Okay. Wow. Yeah, so you may be like working through something, pile 3. You may be in the process of working through it. Trust me, keep going. Keep going. Just keep on, just putting one foot in front of the other, and just keep on. Just slowly bring your heart to the surface. You know, don't expect to like, you know, pop out your heart and like be like, hi everybody, I can like open my heart to everyone. No, take your time. It's okay. You're doing everything you can. You're doing the best you can. I can see that. I can hear it. I can feel it. Because obviously you've got like a lot of spiritual kind of work that's going on. So just be mindful of the fact that it's going to take a little bit more time for you, because your depth of love is so deep. It's so intense. Like, it's really intense. Which is why you're probably like locking it all away. But you know, just take it slowly, and honestly, the layers will just kind of, it will open like a flower. Trust me, it really will. And the right kind of people will come to you. You'll be able to open your heart in a really beautiful way that's safe, that's okay. You will be able to do this. You will be, because I think you'll start to understand that, you know, it isn't all about the hardness. I remember, like, when I was on my own journey, I remember one person said to me, Reena, like, it's time for you to like become a Jedi now. Stop being a Sith. Because I'd believed in the hardness of like, you know, going through loads of shadow work, you know, just can, you know, annihilate the self, break it apart, like open it up and rip it out, you know, integrate the shadow, you know, and all of that. And really it's about like just allowing the love to flow, and to come to you, to remember that you deserve to be happy too. You deserve that. You deserve that, pile 3. Trust me, you deserve it. So yeah, let's see what. And Uriel, yes. So Uriel, I just looked up the card before I did the reading, because I just wanted to see, because this one I read and this one I read, because they're lengthy books. There's lengthy explanations in the books. So the thing is with Uriel is about having like kind of that sense of self, and being connected with the earth, and also remembering that, you know, being that sense of a counselor for oneself. So if you are being that beautiful energy for others, to remember to do that for yourself, to have that passion and that love for yourself and not just for everyone else, you know. It's about like you being able to kind of forgive yourself as well for what you've been through. Allow yourself to heal from the emotional pain that's kind of surrounded you, and you know, almost spurred you onto this path. But now you're gonna now it's about allowing yourself to feel the love that you truly deserve. Pile 3. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these. Wow, the cycle. Spells, divine time, lunar influence, waiting before the result. I think it's important for you to recognize how important cycles work for you. You may already work with them. I wouldn't be surprised if you do, but I do also think they're not just in terms of a proactive sense, but also recognizing how the energies affect you, which is what I got just then. Because sometimes we can like be thinking about like how certain energies, like how to capitalize on certain energies, which I think that there's a bit of a like that kind of attitude with you, pile 3. Like you want to like be productive. I feel like you want to, there's a sense of productivity, because there's almost like this kind of like sense of go-getter, but it's with this Sagittarius reversed, it's kind of like it's misaligned. It's kind of like it's not coming in together. So it's not like it's not running the course as it should do. So it's almost like, how do you capitalize upon this cycle? And I think you already have the knowledge already. And what I'm getting here with this moon cycle, and then we've also got this yod that's here as well. So I think it's really important to like recognize your knowledge within that space, and how do you use it in a more efficient way. Okay, so we've got definition, which is the third eye chakra. We've got generosity, which is the heart chakra. That's Jupiter, and Jupiter as well out of all of them. I just want one. Saying 2. I want to give you 2. See? 1, please. No. I'm going to pick one. Oh, wow. It just doesn't want to give me 2. Yeah, it keeps on giving me more than 1. It wants to give me... Okay, right, I'm going to go with this one. Creativity, instincts. So we've got Svadhisthana. So this is the sacral chakra, which is instincts, and your moon. So it's connecting to your emotions and your sacral chakra. So understanding that your emotions will really help you to kind of like lift up that creativity. And then you've also got generosity. Be generous with your heart. Yeah, that's the whole thing about opening and being generous with the heart and being vulnerable, you know. And I laugh because I've got a feeling it's hard for you, you know, and I laugh out of love. I love because I know that. I know it's hard to do that, but I think it will be so beautiful for you. And I promise, like, you know what I just thought? Even though like there's that little caterpillar that comes and munches away on the leaves of the heart, the heart just keeps on growing leaves. So it doesn't matter how many like caterpillars come and munch away at the heart, because the heart will just continue to grow the leaves. If you were around for my cabbage analogy, I thought that was quite sweet. But yeah, because, you know, and just, you know, the never-ending like kind of unfolding of petals of the heart. That's what I kind of saw with that Jupiter energy. So that's really nice. And then you've got intuition here, which is discipline. Well, I mean, you're off the charts. Seriously. I think you guys are just like, you're just like super, super people. So with this, it's almost like defining the truth of how this intuition is working in congruency with love and creativity. I think that's really important. How can you use it in a way that's not so hard? It's almost like applying the discipline that you have generally or are exuding now in a more generous and instinctual way in respect to your emotions and your heart. Hope that made sense. It's like the ferocity of the passion that you have with being so direct or being like so kind of hard on yourself. Change that and change it into the power of the heart and your sacral. Okay, and then we're just gonna like kind of like close out with some Druid energy. Wow, oh my God. So it says here, the Hermit's home. A house is but a simple building. A home, however, is the warmest kind of feeling. Place Tillandsia air plants in the home for resilience and healing. Oh, I've got to get some of those. Let me just have a quick look at what those are. I don't know what they are. Let me have a look. So apparently they're these. So if you like those, get a few of those. I do like those plants actually. I'm going to see if I can get some because they're really cool. But yeah, place them around the home for resilience and healing. Beautiful, beautiful. So my friends, I feel so honored doing these readings. I think they are groundbreaking. I think it would be really also useful for you to see how, you know, to see the kind of like the structure that you're working within, because I think Helen's reading will give you the idea of the framework that you're working within in order to like move beyond. And also, more importantly, integrate and move beyond. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like you have to like merge the two things together. Helen's reading will be in the description box below, but thank you again so much for allowing me to read with your beautiful energy. This has been such an incredible set of readings. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Please do subscribe for more videos. But otherwise, my darlings, you take care. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. I'll speak to you soon, and remember that honesty is always key. Bye.